Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Hey there, and welcome back to the PA the FI Way podcast. I'm your host, Kat, and I am a PA on the way to financial independence. And it is my goal with this podcast and show to teach other PAs as well as other healthcare professionals about how to reach financial independence to help treat and prevent burnout along the way too. So in this episode, we are going to talk about decluttering. And on the surface, you might think, how in the world does decluttering tie in with finances or with money? And there are definitely several ties. And many in the financial independence community do tend to start leaning towards minimalism as a concept that they start embracing in their life. So I am by no means a full-on minimalist. At the same time, my husband and I have recently been looking at each other and trying to not only hold ourselves as individuals accountable, but ourselves accountable as a couple about how to not continue to get more and more and more and more stuff. And I'll share a little bit more about why that ties in with our life too. And throughout this episode, I will share some different tips about decluttering that I hope you take to heart and you start implementing in your life and not just put it on the back burner for someday in the future. You can start doing some really simple decluttering things now. So let's dive in here. Why decluttering has been so important for my life currently, as well as other family members too, is because we decided this year that we are going to sell our house. And that is a decision that we've been thinking about for a few years now. And I won't get into the whole why behind it by any means, but further background with that information is several years ago when we bought this house, we decided to buy it as a fixer-upper, meaning that it was completely stuck in the 80s. And we decided that we were going to remodel it over time. And with that, my husband has done the majority of the work. We have absolutely used professionals with electrical work. We have used a professional cabinet maker for different things too. So we have absolutely involved professionals, but we have done a lot of the work ourselves. And by we, absolutely mean my husband. I have not done much of the hands-on type of work, so to speak. And with that move too, our intent and our plan was that we were going to have my mom live in part of the area of our house. And the lower level of our house was the first area that my husband worked on updating and remodeling and essentially made a apartment setup for her down there. And part of that too was because she had breast cancer at the time. And she decided that she wanted to downsize her house initially because she lived in a house by herself at the time too. So at that time, she went through her house, decluttered lots of things, got rid of a lot of things, donated a lot of things, and then moved in with us when she was going through treatment for breast cancer. And again, at the time, there were so many unknowns. We were unknown how she would do, how she would respond to treatment, if she would go into remission or not. She did respond well, and then eventually the cancer came back a little while after that. And thankfully, gratefully to God that over the past several years, she has actually been in remission. So we are so grateful for that and that she was taken care of and is doing well. And she lived with us over the past several years. Once my husband and I made the decision to sell our house, my mom decided that she would move in with my sister's family and see how things would go there too. And her health, again, is doing okay right now. We're, again, very grateful for that. But she really likes to feel as though she's helping people out, contributing. She'll help out with their kids, my niece and nephew as well. So once we made the decision to sell our house in the spring, we decided that the first step was to help my mom move over there. And the first phase of the decluttering for us in our household was to help my mom go through her things. Again, she had already done that initially with the whole entire house, but there were still several things that she had and had accumulated more over the years. So it was going through her things and then getting her moved over to my sister's house. A lot of her things mixed with our things were downstairs in the basement. And also downstairs in the basement was not only our things over the years that, again, we've accumulated, maybe we haven't used too much of, but in addition, we have other family members that have passed away. So for example, my grandma, my aunt, my dad has passed away. So there were several people that have passed away from various things over the years. And then we accumulated a lot of their things too. So with that, we did not necessarily take a lot of time to go through the things as we got them, because part of it was we were going through grief, to be honest, right? And then my husband's dad has passed away as well. So he even had stuff from his dad. So again, we had lots of stuff. It was not just ours as a couple. It was my mom's and then relatives who had passed away too. By no means was this a hoarding situation, but you can imagine that with all those boxes, again, just lots of boxes, lots of bins, lots of stuff down in the basement. So just painting the picture for you. I don't believe that I actually took any pictures of the basement before we started working on it to show you, but I can share some of the decluttering pictures of donation piles and things like that as well. So throughout this whole process, we have absolutely identified that stuff accumulates over time unless you are intentional and proactive about preventing that from happening. And as a reminder, my husband and I, we don't have any kids right now. So you can only think about how other families that have kiddos too, I can only imagine how much harder it is to declutter over time and contain the toys, right? I see that kids nowadays have so many toys, I feel like. So it's just the reminder to be intentional about it and to not think of it as, oh yeah, I need to declutter my whole entire house, but instead learn some of these tips and tricks that I'll share further on in this episode about what you can do both now as well as periodically. Maybe it's once a week, once a month, quarterly, something like that, and be more mindful and intentional as you're buying new things throughout your life too. For a lot of people, physical clutter can actually contribute or even mirror mental clutter. And again, even financial clutter too. If people are very impulsive buyers, then they might have all sorts of stuff from all their purchases recently too. And remember that simplifying is not about deprivation. It really is about freedom and intention. So let's talk about the connection between decluttering and financial independence a little bit further here. So you can think of clutter as trapped capital, meaning that every item that you don't use, it actually represents time and money that could have gone towards your financial goals. And the purpose of that statement is to not make you feel this sense of guilt or shame. It's to make you have this eye-opening moment and this self-reflection going forward. So again, we all have mistakes and regrets over the years, especially when it comes to financial choices. So you can't go back and change anything, but you can be intentional going forward. So that is what the reminder of that is about. And minimalism is really the tool for intentional living because it helps you spend, save, and invest in alignment with your values. When you own less, you need less, and therefore you work less and have more freedom. So even just use the example of if someone feels as though they need this giant McMansion house, right? The bigger the house, the more stuff will accumulate just because you have more places to put stuff and you don't necessarily notice when there is more stuff there. But then you're also accumulating things to fill the house. So for example, tools, gadgets, furniture, all sorts of things, decor, right? You are having more and more stuff the bigger the house that you live in. So that's one thing to be mindful of too. And there is a hidden cost of stuff. So for example, there's maintenance, there's storage, there's moving costs if you do pay a moving company, there's emotional energy as well. And decluttering can actually help accelerate financial goals if you choose to sell some of your unused items. You certainly can sell, you can donate. There's lots of different things you can do. And then also it helps with lowering lifestyle inflation And you can, again, consider downsizing your home or have other goals with that too. Next, let's shift to the mindset and motivation behind decluttering. I really want you to view decluttering as a tool for becoming the best version of yourself. There are lots of ways to work on becoming the best version of yourself. Absolutely. Decluttering is one of those pieces. So when you are thinking about decluttering, don't just think about, oh my goodness, I have so much stuff to go through. This is so overwhelming. How in the world am I going to do this, right? Let's start pausing and doing some self-reflection questions first. Let's set your vision first. What kind of life are you creating space for? How do you want your home to feel? And remember that it's always about progress over perfection. You don't need to transition into having a minimalistic household overnight. That's absolutely unreasonable, right? So focus on the freedom and the why behind it, not on the deprivation, not on, oh, I have to get rid of this stuff, or I feel like I'm going to miss everything. And maybe you're sentimental and that can be challenging as well. But you're gaining things like peace, clarity, and you are not necessarily losing out on things. You're also gaining things too. And avoid the sunk cost fallacy. This one is hard. For a lot of people, they say, oh, well, I've already spent my money on this thing, so I don't want to get rid of it. But if you never use it, the money is already gone, right? So you could potentially regain some of that money by selling it. Absolutely. Or again, if you donate it, you're freeing up space, you're freeing up peace, you're freeing up clean surfaces in your house. I absolutely love this question when it comes to asking if you should get rid of something. Ask yourself, would I be excited to buy this thing again today if I saw it in the store? And how many items or how many things would you say yes to that question? Many of your things around you, you might say, no, if I saw them in the store, I wouldn't want it at all, right? So then why are you keeping it? Is it really practical, serving use? Is it a tool? Do you use it periodically throughout the year and it does have value and purpose? Or do you feel like you just can't get rid of it because you spent money on it? That's the part that you really want to try to let go of. And then ask yourself, is this reflecting who you are becoming? You want your environment aligned with what your mission, what your values are, what your goals are for your future as well. And then decluttering also has emotional and mental benefits. For example, you have less decision fatigue. The fewer the clothes, the fewer the shoes, the fewer the choices, right? So that creates more mental clarity. And then you also can have lighter space, and that can lighten your mind and help reduce burnout. When some people come home from a long day at work, this absolutely is personality dependent. I feel like some people are like this more than others. But when some people come home and they see clutter all over, clutter on the table, on the counters, on the floor, all the places, right? That can make them feel even more overwhelmed and more burned out versus maybe you've had this time over the weekend to clean up. Maybe you hosted someone and your house was cleaner and less cluttered because you had someone over. And then when you come home after that, you think, oh, this is nice. This is relaxing when I walk in the door. And when you are transitioning towards becoming more minimalistic, you can learn to develop a greater sense of gratitude and presence for what you do have. You can be thankful for the few items that serve their purpose and that you do utilize or that do bring you joy. And honestly, this can be a really good time to reset. It can be a good time with decluttering to reset your emotional energy, your mental bandwidth, and to almost serve as a chapter for closing a chapter in your life and opening up a future chapter as well. Let's transition to talking about some practical systems for decluttering. So here are some tips and tricks that you can think about utilizing and implementing into your life. The first one is the 20-20 rule. If an item costs less than $20 and takes less than 20 minutes of time to replace the item, get rid of it if you do not use it. If you are on the fence about this item, should I keep it? Should I not keep it? Well, I might use this maybe once every few years. If it costs less than $20 and you aren't sure if you're going to use it again, then go ahead and donate it. Again, maybe sell it, but likely donate at that price point. And then remind yourself you can easily replace this in the future if needed. There is the 90-90 rule. If you have not used an item for 90 days and you don't anticipate using it in the next 90 days, so again, that's a 6-month space, then donate it. And this is helpful for things like tech, gadgets, kitchen appliances that are those smaller counter appliances, clothes, etc. There is another rule that is called the 1 in and 1 out rule, or you can be a little bit more extreme and do 2 items in and 2 items out. And what that means is if you are bringing 1 item into your home, you need to let 1 item go out of your home. And again, if you are trying to lessen and decrease all the items in your home, then go ahead and try 1 item in and 2 items out and see how things go there. That helps keep the future clutter from getting worse and creeping back in over time too. And then there is the house on fire rule. This one really helps you decide and clarify what truly matters to you. So this rule is, if your house was on fire, what would you absolutely have to go in and grab? And I will guarantee it's not boxes and closets full of things, right? It is very likely a few small items. And that can really help provide that clarity for you when you are really trying to reflect and be like, do I really care about this item? Do I really want to hold on to this item? Do I intend to use it one day? Maybe not, right? But if you value and maybe have sentimental value towards a few items, because again, you're thinking about if your house is on fire, that can help really bring to light what you should keep. Really lessen the other stuff, right? It really puts it into perspective of, oh, I really don't necessarily need to hold on tight to those things. And now a word from our sponsor. Are you confident where your next dollar should go? 403b, 457, HSA, or Roth? The choices can feel overwhelming. Many providers aren't sure if their investments are optimized, if they're contributing enough, or if they're overpaying Uncle Sam. Meet Caleb Pepperday, a fee-only fiduciary financial planner and founder of Advanced Practice Planning, LLC. Caleb joined me back on episode 162, and he helps PAs fast-track their path to work-optional living while keeping more of what they earn today. His process identifies the right strategies for your situation and gives you step-by-step guidance to put them into action. For our listeners, Caleb is offering a free one-on-one consultation to review your financial steps, check if you're on the right track, and help you determine whether you need a planner or can keep doing it yourself. Visit advancedpracticeplanning.com/FI to grab your free consultation. Slots are limited each week. If they're full, download his free guide, Everything You Need to Know to Retire Early as a PA, and Caleb will notify you when openings are available. Again, that's advancedpracticeplanning.com/FI to grab your free consultation. Advanced Practice Planning LLC is a registered investment advisor in Montana and Pennsylvania. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where Advanced Practice Planning LLC and its representatives are properly registered or exempt from registration. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. This advertisement is for informational purposes only and does not constitute individualized advice or a guarantee that you will achieve a desired result. All topics discussed in this podcast are the opinion of the podcast host and not of Advanced Practice Planning LLC or its advisors. So here are some other systems to keep decluttering manageable. This is called the box trick. What you want to do is you want to put items that you are unsure about. You're pretty sure you want to donate them, but maybe you're unsure about it. You put it in a box and you label it. You can label it whatever you want, and then you date it. And then if 6 months go by and you never opened that box to go get the item and use it or wear it or whatever the case is, then what you do is you seal up the box and you don't look at it. That is the main trick to this rule. You can't go back in after 6 months and start scrummaging through that box, because what is it going to do? It's going to remind yourself, oh, maybe I will use this in the next 6 months. But really, the answer is probably not. That's why it's in the box in the first place. So again, if you are unsure of something, that can be a really great strategy and really helps you think about, hey, would I ever use this again? Now, maybe in 3 months, a event comes up or a situation comes up and you need that item in the box, then go ahead and take it out and then use it. and then decide maybe you do want to keep it at that point. Many decluttering specialists encourage that you actually declutter by category instead of decluttering by room. So what does that mean? If you have a guest bedroom, for example, and your guest bedroom's closet is full of all sorts of things, don't go in there and declutter that whole bedroom, that whole storage area, the whole closet. Instead, think about a category that you want to focus on. If you want to tackle all of your clothes, declutter them all at once, all at the same time, because then you are really taking inventory and it allows you to see how much you truly have, especially in regard to different types of clothes, right? It can allow you to see how many types of jeans you have, how many skirts you have, how many shirts, etc. You can do this with books. Gather all of your books and then declutter versus, I have some books in this room, some books in this room, some clothes here, some clothes there, some towels here, some towels there. Whatever the category is, declutter by the whole category instead of just a room. That can help you and be more productive overall. Sometimes people will do this idea where they have 15 minutes and it is this rushed time, but it's an intentional time where you have 15 minutes to reset everything and return items in your home. You set a timer and you look around and think about what is out of its place in your home and take the time to put it back there. And if something doesn't have a home, then it probably is clutter. That can also be a really great thing to think about. If I don't know where to keep this thing or where to put it or where to use it, then why do I have it? Another variation of setting a timer for 15 minutes is quick, determined decluttering, meaning that for that next 15 minutes, you just grab things that you know that you really don't want. And you could take a garbage bag, for example, and make it your goal for the 15 minutes to fill that garbage bag, or take a box and make it your goal to fill that box of items or things or clothing, etc., that you just want out of your home. And again, depending upon what it is, you might want to throw it away, you might want to donate it, or potentially you might want to sell it. And selling can look like all sorts of variations too. There's Facebook Marketplace. There are different local stores that will buy things. If it's a collectible piece, there's all different ways to sell collectibles. So the whole selling piece definitely has lots of options there too. Now let's transition to some tools that you can use to simplify your closets, your storage areas, as well as your consumption too. The next one is think about quality over quantity. Buy fewer and better things. This especially can come to things like clothes, shoes, jewelry, accessories, things like that. Think about those things that you use every single day and buy quality if that's the case, not just that you need tons of different clothing items if they're not really great or if they're itchy or uncomfortable. That can be a huge one for a lot of people, and that you don't think you'll actually wear it because you don't feel comfortable in it. Transitioning further into clothing, think about capsule wardrobes. So you can pick your 30 to 40 favorite pieces that you utilize quite often and that actually match and coordinate with each other. For example, you have a jacket or a blazer that works really well with all sorts of different types of bottoms or different types of shirts. Maybe you have different colors that you tend to coordinate throughout your outfit and throughout your closet and kind of stick with those as well. And then you can either donate the rest or put some of those other items on the side to help you think about it over time too, but you probably won't miss them. If you're not wearing them regularly, you probably will forget about that item of clothing in a day, right? And never remember it again. Another way to simplify your consumption is to stop upgrading automatically, especially when it comes to things like your phone or other tech devices. So many Americans are in the habit of getting a new phone every single year. And again, that's absolutely not necessary. Same with computers, same with smart tech devices as well. Really be intentional. And when you are getting something, try to use it for several years and get the value out of it before switching and getting another one. And before you buy anything new, think about which old item this is replacing. Is this necessary that you have this old item that doesn't work anymore, doesn't function, is pretty battered? It's very reasonable to replace it, but then make sure that you actually do the replacing and get rid of the old item too. Next, let's transition to talking about the different strategies behind the emotional part and social part of decluttering. It is important that you declutter guilt and pressure too. Get rid of those things as you're going through the decluttering process. For example, you might feel like if you get rid of something that it's so wasteful and that you need to keep it. And I find that generations before us, especially that grew up in the Great Depression or that had parents that grew up in the Great Depression, definitely have that mindset where they feel wasteful for letting things go and they feel like they just need to hold on to them for the years to come too. But you aren't wasteful. You are really realigning your values for your life. And often, if the item has use left in it and has practicality in it, you can again donate it to someone else or donate it to a place that will sell it to people. You can try to get some social connection in throughout the decluttering process by decluttering with a friend or family member. It can add accountability, it can add some sanity, and it can add some perspective. You can kind of talk through the item a little bit if you're unsure, or think about why this item is sentimental for you and have that perspective of them saying, okay, do you really need that? We have 5 more of those items. Or, hey, if you do want to keep that, let's get rid of some of these items otherwise. And if there are certain sentimental pieces, you can keep them without keeping the item itself by taking a picture of them. So sometimes people will instead take a picture and even do a little bit of journaling about it. I think few people keep physical scrapbooks nowadays, but maybe they do a digital type of scrapbook and write about why that item was sentimental. And again, don't feel guilty for saying, oh, I don't really need or want that item too. Maybe you have parents that try to give you lots of things, maybe from your childhood that were sentimental for them, but you look back at it and you say, well, yeah, this isn't sentimental for me, even though it's from my elementary school days or something like that. Don't feel guilty to hold on to everything or feel like you need to hold on to everything. You can prioritize. You can think about which of those things actually matter to you as an individual and not feel pressure and guilt otherwise. And then the pieces that you do keep, you should try to celebrate because minimalism is about curation, not emptiness in your life. You are curating those things, those pieces, those items around you that you really care about or that you feel as though you'll use and are intentional about. So don't, again, feel like you need to keep everything just because other people want you to keep something too. Now let's talk about digital decluttering and financial decluttering. With the digital tech items nowadays, if you're like me, you have so many pictures and videos and so many things. You probably have lots of files or downloads on your computer. This is also a really good reminder to clean all those up. Try to declutter them as well, because again, they can add that mental load where you are trying to find a picture, but you have to scroll through thousands of pictures and it can be really challenging for a lot of people too. And then go ahead and unsubscribe from marketing emails that you don't ever read, but take up lots of space in your inbox or that trigger overspending. And that can help you stay focused and intentional on your goals too. And I know I've touched on this in other episodes too, but it's a gentle reminder to also declutter from subscriptions that you never use that aren't serving you. And go ahead and think about decluttering different social media accounts or people on social media that also aren't serving you. If following them makes you feel as though you're getting stuck into this comparison trap, or you feel worse about yourself with watching their videos, it may be a good time to unfollow, block them, whatever you need to do for that. And you can declutter your finances further by simplifying your accounts. You can consolidate, roll over accounts. You can automate transfers. You can automate a lot of your finances too. And that can help with overall decluttering too. Next, let's talk about how decluttering reminds you to focus on experiences and not stuff. Back on episode 145, we talked about experiences over stuff, the key to more happiness. And it really is a great reminder that we all need periodically throughout our lives, throughout the year, that buying more and more stuff gives you that short burst of dopamine for maybe a few minutes, maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, but it really is not long lasting. What is long lasting are those experiences that are meaningful, that you enjoy, that are memorable, that bring you closer to family members or friends, helps you spend time in nature. Those experiences are really what gives you that dopamine that's longer lasting than just buying something quick on Amazon. And that's a great reminder to spend based on your values. Spend on what truly enriches your life as an individual. And that could be things like travel, community, learning, different types of education, exploring, hobbies, all sorts of things too. And really those experiences bring you the longer lasting happiness than having all the possessions and all of the things. You might be asking yourself, how does decluttering get you to financial independence better, or maybe in a better way? And that is because there is a path to freedom. Owning less helps you have the lower expenses. And again, that can help you fuel your path to financial independence a whole lot sooner than if you own lots and lots and lots of things. A decluttered home can make it easier for you to downsize if you decide to downsize throughout your life, or maybe even decide that you want to be more of a mobile type of person, meaning that you live in different places. Maybe you don't own a home and you decide to rent Airbnbs or VRBOs or even apartments for shorter contracts as well. You don't have to feel like you're tied down if you don't want to. Some people really like the stability of a house. That's totally understandable if that's your preference, but also where you are at for your phase in life. And that is also another really great reminder too, that you can have different phases and different chapters of your life, right? Maybe with the area of life that you're in right now, you want to stay where you're at. Or maybe as kids get older or move out of your home, you decide to change things up or maybe even move or things like that too. And with wrapping up this episode, I invite you to choose one category to start decluttering this week. Does that look like your closet? Does that look like your digital items? Does that look like your kitchen? What is that one category you can focus on? Think about those tools and strategies that I touched on that would be helpful for you, that you would find meaningful to implement throughout your life, both decluttering now as well as in the years to come too. Ask yourself, what would help me to feel lighter if I were to let it go? What are some of those burdensome, cluttery items that you're holding on to or that are, again, taking up physical space as well as mental space in your life? And I also invite you to share any decluttering wins that you have this week on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, or here on YouTube as well. I would love to hear what worked well for you and which items you're able to let go of. If you have any friends or family members or colleagues in your life that are also planning on an upcoming move or decluttering for another reason in their life, go ahead and share this episode with them so that they can find the information to simplify the process for them, because again, it's a very overwhelming situation for a lot of people. Some people don't have any problem with decluttering throughout their life, and I highly respect those people. But if you're like me or a lot of people I know, it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Again, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time out of your day to take a listen, and I'll see you back here soon. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.